it's almost left a bitter taste on what an influencer is, but it's not reflecting what true influencers are.
When we're starting our content creation journey, we're too focused on like the people that we want to grow, too focused on the results. And sometimes it's like you need to be focused on like the information that you're giving home.
Do what you're doing to help others and to serve humanity. And as a byproduct, the people that you serve will trust you. I think there's an age of influencers that is dying, and there is a new era of influencers that is rising. Welcome to the Creator Concepts, and today I am not alone. I have the one and only Slonde M, and my name is Mawanda Maphumulo. Slonde, welcome.
Hi guys, back again.
So Slonde is part of the team. It's always good to have some young blood around you. As you all know, I'm still young. I'm 25 years old.
Sure.
And we stay young. Today we're going to talk about influencers.
Hectic.
Yeah, I think it's going to be so cool. And
It's nice.
why?
I'm excited. I don't know.
So I have a theory. I don't need everybody to agree with me, but I do think there's a shift in the market when it comes to the idea of influencing. So what is an influencer in your perspective?
Like the word like literally describes itself. It's someone that has some sort of impact or like influence in terms of like what they do with their lives. They can influence people to like follow trends or buy something or purchase certain goods and stuff like that. But they have like an impact on people and influence them to do certain things or purchase certain things and stuff like that. I think
I think that's actually good.
Low-key.
Yeah, I think that's good. I'm going to share about what I found online, and then I'll share what my perspective of an influencer is. So
Okay.
It says, traditionally, an influencer is someone who has the power to affect the purchasing decisions of others because of their authority, knowledge, position, or relationship with their audience. They typically operate on social media platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, blogs, podcasts, and have a dedicated following. I think that's a good explanation of what an influencer is. So, yeah, I do think that the idea of influencers is changing from what we know it to be currently. And I think that we have new age influencers that are going to look very different. And I think those influencers will look like the shape of entrepreneurs, like professionals, like coaches, like speakers, like authors, podcasters,
True.
etc. Right? But why do I say that the idea of influencers is changing? I'll tell you why. So I'll speak about, especially in South Africa, the evolution of what the influencer is and just how they made money. So because I'm in the media industry, I think the influencer and media industry almost boomed up together, even though the media has always been there. We all know that the original influencer is Kim Kardashian.
Is she?
Yeah, Kim Kardashian is actually
valid though.
Yeah, she's the OG. She's
She
there.
is.
So, and I think that the trend of influencing also went that route.
Okay.
So typically, from what I've seen it to be, firstly, influencers started because of the social media. When you're influencers, it's about, okay, at first, who could post the best picture in terms of quality? Then people started hiring photographers. And that's why I'm saying it's very interlinked to media. And then after the images, then you get followers and you showcase your outfits and who you're with and what you're doing. And then the second one came video. Okay. Who could have the highest quality video while looking good, having the best makeup, etc. Then I think that also made the industry grow even more. And I think the third one became lifestyle.
Oh, definitely.
Now it's about who's wearing what, who's shopping where, how do I look?
Keeping up with the trends.
Yeah, keeping up with the trends. Who am I posting with? What food am I eating? Etc. And that's what almost the idea of what an influencer is became that now influencers are people who go around just having a good time, posting what they're doing, who they're with. It's about your circles. It's about how you look, what brand are you wearing, when it's Valentine's Day, who's dropping the best content, etc. And I know that especially for Instagram, it's almost became that.
It is that.
And it is that. So I found it so interesting when I met with a client of mine who's a cardiologist, who we are planning to build his personal brand and help him create content around how can he help people understand the matters of the body, the heart, and his experiences better. But one of the first things he said is like, I want to create content, but I don't want to be an influencer. So I'm like, huh. So what it's done is that it's given this perception that an influencer is a person who strictly showcases lifestyle, dresses a certain way, acts a certain way, and etc. So it's almost left a bitter taste on what an influencer is, but it's not reflecting what true influencers are.
Hectic. Do you think there's a difference, like there's a difference between a content creator and an influencer? Or do these things work together, or they're the same thing?
I think based on the current explanation of what we're saying an influencer looks like, it does look like, yes, there is a difference. But also, at the same time, there also isn't a difference. And I'll tell you why. Because when something is new, everybody floods to it.
Okay.
And when everybody does it and everybody floods to it, that's how you find. I'll talk about my experiences and the people that I know that are content creators. Last year, when I started my agency and I got back into filming, I used to shoot a lot of people who create content, create content creators, influencers, / for their campaigns, etc. Like, yeah, I used to have a lot of them to shoot. But then over time, when I speak to some of them, you realize that the amount of money, for example, they were making in 2023 is not the same as to the amount of money they were making in 2024, because the industry is saturated. But also, I think that the industry is actually looking for something different. And that's why I'm saying there's a new era of what an influencer is.
Okay.
And for me, it goes back to the original explanation of what we were speaking about, that traditionally an influencer is someone who has the power to affect the purchasing decisions of because of their authority, the words, because of their knowledge, because of their position or relationship that they have with their audience. So I think that we've actually had a kind of a false representation of what an influencer is.
It is.
And the true influencers are actually rising up right now.
Right now, hectic. Yeah.
Right? I found that was so interesting. So
That is.
when I look at my perspective and I look at the clients that I've had and how the whole thing of I don't want to be influencer. So I had to tell the cardiologist that, well, as a byproduct of you sharing knowledge and you being an authority, it means that you are going to be an influencer. Because when it comes to health, people are going to listen to the advice that you have to share as a person who's actually in the field and a person who's actively working within the field,
Yeah.
which means that you're going to influence their perspective and how they're actually going to do things going forward. So you are actually the true influencer, even though it looks like you have a boring job.
Yeah.
So the concept of influencers is now going back to the original. Now that the hype is dying, now that the hype is going, there's a new era of influencers who people thought that they are boring, who are actually rising up now. So if you look at short form content, people and brands are looking to work with people who have a loyal following, who have a community, and people who actually are adding value to others. And that's what the true influence is becoming. It's not going to look like the traditional super pretty girl or handsome guy who has a six-pack showcasing a Lambo.
Yeah.
Lifestyle, Iziasha. It's influencing is changing. It's not going to look like that anymore.
And people are completely over that also.
That's what happens. After we get bombarded with something, eventually people want the real thing.
Yeah.
At first, it's like, oh, everybody looks like they have it.
So
Everybody looks like they have it.
nice.
It's so nice. Then that's just how we are as human beings. Eventually, we all want the real thing. And I think we're now entering a stage where professionals are rising up to be influencers. Doctors are rising up. People who are writing books are being influencers. People who are doing podcasts that have valuable impacts are becoming influencers. People who are working in environmental awareness are becoming influencers. People who are advocates for health. People who are advocates for abuse. People who are advocates for things that really create impact in this world are the new age influencers. And I think if you still have your blueprint stuck on just lifestyle and stuck on just what I'm wearing, unless if that's your niche and you've carved it out to be very specific in the people that you help, I do think that you're going to fizzle out very quickly.
You will. Do you think, I think just by hearing you say all of these things, do you think because now in the generation that we living in, like social media is like a very big deal, especially after COVID, to the point whereby in order to reach your target market or your audience nowadays in like the corporate world or in any like part or area in the economy, because everyone is trying to go through social media, that everyone is trying to use social media as a big platform for their businesses. That's why now even the more boring side of like work has become, so big on influencing and stuff like that and content creation. Is it because of that? Do you think
That's
that
why things
had
are
an
changing.
impact? That's why things are changing.
Well, I think when the original idea of influencer came about, it was the whole thing of, from my perspective, I think people look at, maybe I can't live that lifestyle, but I can enjoy that lifestyle through this person.
Oh,
And
through
I can
watching
have,
it.
through watching it, and I can have a window in their lives. Who are they with? What I can do. And it becomes aspirational in that sense. That, Kim is wearing that outfit and I saw it's available at the Fix. So I want to dress a similar way that
Exactly
she's
like that.
dressing. And I might not be able to have lunch at the best restaurant in Paris, but I can go to Old Town Italy, or I can
Yeah.
go to Zai and I can,
Zai.
and have a similar. So
Yeah.
I think it's that, but I also think that over time, then people realize that, okay, it's all good to be aspirational and looking through your window, but how can I get to that stage? Like, how can I own my own business? How can
Okay.
I grow from living the way I live at home and just looking at the screen, but actually improve my life and become a better person to do better for myself and my family? So I think the reality is hitting in. Ukuthi, just because I'm looking at Slondi on the phone, it doesn't mean that I have the same lifestyle. So how can
It's not
I
enough
now?
anymore
It's not
to just
enough.
look at it.
Yeah.
People want it for themselves also now.
Exactly. So I think that's what's happening. I think it's moving from, okay, it's been good, we've had a good run. And it's still going to be there. I'm not saying it's totally changing. I might have clickbait you a little bit. But I think that it's now slowly moving to the lady who wants to grow in real estate. Now is going to look at whoever's doing dope, a female who's doing well in real estate and the content that they post, and they want to learn from them.
Because they also want to be there
Because they
now.
also want to be there now. I wanna listen to what my friend Uvedel is saying, and what Vidal Peterson does as a plug, Kingdom Real Estate, check it out. But what she does, I now want to aspire to be like how she is running a real estate business. I want to be mentored by her eventually. I want to join Zoom calls that she has, and she speaks about the different things that she's applied in order to be able to attract the clients and sell real estate, but still have compassion and connect with the people that she's working with. So I think we are in an era where people are really looking to trust people who can move them forward in life.
Yeah.
And if I'm just following you for the vibes,
It's not enough.
it's not enough. But also it affects, that means the economical change is also going to shift. Now, instead of Sunlight promoting, having a brand deal with this just vibey person, now they're going to look for someone who has an audience, who trusts them.
Yeah.
So now the economy is also going to shift.
Hectic. Yeah.
Okay, so how does this affect anybody? Well, so how does this new age influencer thing work? Well, to be honest, it's not new age. It's just what an influencer is. You heard the description. But I'm hoping that for the content creators out there, people who are currently influencers, but also for the industry people who are looking to build their authority and become, that's what a personal brand is. I think one of the descriptions of a personal brand is a person who has influence and authority in the field that they're in. And the only thing that you've done is that you've taken it from offline to online.
True.
Yeah. So, one of the things, or one of the pillars you must have, I think, as a new age influencer, is that you must have a value to offer. Again, it goes back to the same topic. Who am I speaking to? How am I going to help them? And how do I actively have value to offer? And the thing about the value to offer is that The old model is that we used to gatekeep things. I'm only going to tell you this once you pay. But now the new model is I'm going to show you value that you can apply and it's going to help you. And that's how you're going to trust me to be able to purchase a product from me. So I have to give first. Gary Vaynerchuk, jab, jab, hook. I have to give first. You must apply it. Then you must be like, okay, that worked and I didn't even pay you for that. How much more will it work if I actually pay you?
People trust you more now.
People trust you more now. But that also means that I now have to grow my expertise even more. And I must be willing to double down in finding out how can I solve the pain and the problem that you have the best and quickest.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
There's a responsibility attached to it. Just because people are willing to pay you, they must be able to get the result. There must be a transformation. There must be a promised result that they are going to get from what you have to offer. So even if you were just creating content, I think now you have to go deeper into, okay, based on my life experiences, based on my expertise, and based on what I know, you could have been a dope content creator, but at core, you are an environmentalist, for example. It sounds boring, but you can merge those two together and you can actually create an impact. And that way, that's how you're going to attract brands that say, hey, we see how valuable you are to your audience. Therefore, we want to attach ourselves to your value. So that based on the trust that I've gained with my audience, a brand will want to attach myself so that they can quickly gain trust with my audience.
With your audience. That's literally how it works.
That's how it is. They're just looking to quickly gain trust. So I think that's the first one. And then the second one, I think, is that you must be interested in building a community.
That's a tough one. Building a community.
It is, but it's there's simple ways. Well, one, you can have an email list. Actually, let's start simpler. You could have an Instagram channel. That's a community.
That is a community.
It's still on platform, but it is like, hey guys, I have an Instagram channel where every 2 days, every 3 days, this is what I post and this is what I speak about.
All those communities people create on WhatsApp.
You can have a broadcast community on WhatsApp, not even tough. And you just have a
Simple.
link on your bio to say if you want to join the community, just click the link. And now you're in a community channel on WhatsApp. So that's one of the ways. You can have an email list, offer something that's valuable to your audience. They click on it, and as a way of exchange, you get the email, and you ask if you can further communicate with them on your email. So you must be interested in building community. Community is just simply, one, you own the data, and then two, it's people. If you're off platform, you can take anywhere with you to continue to build a relationship with them. Yeah, and I think. Building is authority or is an authority in their field. Oh, sorry. Yeah, and I think the third one is you must be willing to build some form of authority in your field and in the things that you're interested in. So speak about what you've learned. It goes back to providing value. And obviously use the frameworks like AGA that we speak about with regards to creating content. And content is just leverage. Content is leverage to building trust.
True.
Content is just that. It's just leverage to building trust. How can I quickly build trust based on my experiences? And how can I find the people that I'm meant to grow with in this journey that we're on? Same applies for business. And the idea of how you also become a valuable new age influencer is that you also become a trusted source of information. Because we're in the information era, people are very skeptical about the information they receive. But it also means we have even more of a responsibility for the information that we share.
Yeah.
But you end up becoming a trusted source of information. And if you're just showcasing lifestyle, what information am I getting from you? So it's a transformative journey, 100%. So that's why I'm saying the people who look like they have boring jobs now are the people that have more to share, because they can peel back the curtain and a person can speak about what it's like Like I know this Uti, she speaks about what it's like to be a med student and a mom. That is so cool. Like it sounds boring to someone else, or before rather, should I say, it looked boring, but now it's not.
It's not. I think people are just getting, like what I'm learning from this as we're talking is that people are getting over the whole thing of watching and not being part of the lifestyle that they want. Like people want to learn now. And that's why you're saying there's like a new age of influencers. Before we're like, oh my God, it's so nice to watch you there in Paris, traveling, eating that, doing that. But people are like, okay, in what I'm good at, what can I do and learn to get there also where I'm traveling
That's
also
good.
and living that life and not just sitting at home and just consuming and watching other people live the lifestyle. People don't want to see that anymore. They want to learn.
100%. Listen, I'm not saying there's no space for entertainment. I'm
There
not saying
is,
there's no space for
definitely.
vlogs. I'm not saying there's no space. There is definitely a huge space for that because sometimes you just want to put something on the TV, watch it while you're cooking, and enjoy that. And that's why I love podcasts. People can listen to this as they're driving. They can listen to this as they're finishing their activities at home. There's so many opportunities to do so. But like you're saying, that people also want to participate now. And one of the best ways to participate or to create that environment is by having longer conversations and by actually adding value. That after I listen to this, I'm like, I actually learned something.
You'd learn something.
Okay, I
Yeah.
thought my career is boring, but I can be an influencer. But the whole point, a disclaimer, don't do what you're doing just to become an influencer.
Yeah, no.
Do what you're doing to help others and to serve humanity. And as a byproduct, the people that you serve will trust you. And the influencing is a byproduct of trust.
Yeah.
So when people say, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to become an influencer. You can't become trust. That's what you're saying. You're saying, I want to become an influencer. You're saying, I want to become trust. No, you have to provide value. You have to serve others. You have to find out what is your gift, what is your talent, what is your perspective, what is your skill that you've honed on. Take that, come back to the community and say, hey, I'm looking to help A, B, C, and D get from A to B. And I'm willing to share my stories, my values, my insights about that. And then as you share that, I listen. And as I listen, I'm like, shucks, that is actually helpful. And then as that becomes helpful, I trust you more. And as I trust you more, you can influence me to make certain decisions. And then that's how you
Yeah.
become
An
an influencer.
Yeah. It just reminds me of this. Like I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. I was watching this podcast and this girl said, when we're starting our content creation journey, we're too focused on like the people that we want to grow, too focused on the results. And sometimes it's like you need to be focused on like the information that you're giving, who you're serving, what you're doing it for. Because when you hyper focus on the fact that, no, I want this amount of people to follow me, I want this amount of people to watch me so that I can get this many brand deals. No, this is what I want, this is what I want. Then like you end up like getting disencouraged very quickly and
That's
you're not
good.
consistent because you're too focused on, I want to build a community, I want to do this, I want to be an influencer, I want people to see me, I want to get to 50K. But she was also saying, Guti, like, do you understand, Guti, 50 people, if there's 50 people right here in front of you, like, you'd be so overwhelmed. But because we're so hyper-focused on social media and 500K followers, and you're like, 500K people could fill up a whole stadium or something. I'm just assuming. I don't even know how many people would fill up a whole stadium.
Oh, definitely.
But
Way
it's
more
like, we're
than
so focused on the numbers and the influencer and these words. But it's like, yo, focus on the people, on what you're doing it for.
That's good.
Literally.
That's so good. We've made it about money. We want to do it for the
have.
money and not for growing and not for helping others. And money becomes a byproduct of that. So, because that's what business is, solving problems. So now we don't want to solve problems. We just want the money before we solve any problem.
Yeah.
So now if you focus on the people that we're helping, we're actually solving a problem. And as a byproduct, they will just add value on that. And that's what the value is for. That's what the money is for.
Yeah.
The money is for the problems that you solve. So what you're saying is true. Like we get so hyper focused on people that have been doing this for 10 years and who have grown their community that it's the whole saying of we want the glory without the story.
Yeah.
No, go through what they had to go through, do what they had to do before wanting their numbers. So yes, there's tactics and there's ways in which we try to grow fast, but the best way is to just get the right messaging of who are you trying to help. And yeah, essentially, that's what the new age influencer is. And I think this episode for me is important because I want everybody out there to understand that everybody is an influencer.
Sure.
The numbers may vary, but no matter what field or industry you're in, you are an influencer. But now the conversation is, are you adding value? And the conversation is, are you looking to help others, solve problems, and as a byproduct of people trusting you, you then have the opportunity to influence them towards the right things.
Period. Like, what else can you say after
Yeah.
that?
Create a concept. We love having conversations such as this that speak about human potential and how can we grow more to be creators and use our gifts to help solve problems, help others, create content around it, and grow our businesses, our professional lives, and our influence.
Period.
So it's been good. See you in the next episode.